I think this is appropriate.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, you can find all those links at canarycry.party as well. Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
Susan is too hot for YouTube. She's got other stuff going on.
That whole jingle has a new perspective.
I know.
It's Susan telling YouTube to say bye-bye.
I felt almost giddy listening to it just now. And I know that that's inappropriate. And,
yes,
and it doesn't mean that we're safe or anything.
No,
in fact, it's probably going to get worse. But, you know, it's okay to take a second and feel giddy about it.
Sure. CNBC has the headline. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says she's stepping down. We have the video here.
Longtime YouTube chief Susan Wojcicki, she is stepping down. She announced so in a blog post, and her garage was famously the first Google office, so she's been there for a long time. She's been in the top position at YouTube for 9 years.
Hold on, is she still in her garage? That's what it made it. She's been there for a long time.
I didn't know that she was involved in the creation of YouTube. I thought she came in and was put there by Google when Google bought it.
Maybe she was the garage where all the minds met. You know, she was the one serving iced tea.
Yeah, it's like the Jeff Bezos. Their first desks were all doors. They took off the hinges at the office.
So in a blog post, and her garage was famously the first Google office, so she's been there for a long time. She's been in the top position at YouTube for 9 years, and she's going to be handing over the reins to Neil Mohan. In a blog post, Wojcicki writes, "Today, after nearly 25 years here at the company, I've decided to step back from my role as the head of YouTube and start a new chapter focused on my family, health, and personal projects that I am passionate about." She says that she will help with the transition, and over the longer term, she'll take an advisory role across Google and Alphabet. Scott, this comes at a challenging time for Google. It is seeing narrowing margins, and revenue growth at YouTube is slowing given reduced ad spend and competition from TikTok. YouTube has been building out its own product, YouTube Shorts, but still figuring out how to best monetize this. The end of a chapter, certainly, though. Remember, this was a $1.65 billion acquisition back in 2006. I don't think anyone at the time could have known that YouTube would grow into the behemoth that it is today under Susan Wojcicki. She was a big part of that.
Oh, she was a big part of creating this behemoth. Oh, it's so sad to see her go.
The praise that will be lavished on Susan for her incredible tycoonism.
Well, I think they're maybe helping her out with the TikTok front. The Deputy Attorney General did come out and warn against using TikTok citing data privacy. Just as a side note, it's kind of a soft, hey, before we fully ban it and have a Gen Z meltdown. You know, just a warning from the government there. But yeah, who's replacing Susan?
Real quick, an unmentioned part of the campaign against TikTok is that at the head of the campaigns and the funding is Mark Zuckerberg, Susan Wojcicki. It's the American social media giants that are leading the charge on the campaign against TikTok, of course, as a more successful competitor to those companies. So it's good to keep in mind, no matter what our thoughts about TikTok are, it opens up an opportunity for our own American-born tyrants to take some ground back.
So the whole TikTok thing is also important in context to who is replacing Susan.
Indeed.
The Times of India. Who is Neil Mohan, an Indian American to become CEO of YouTube? All right, so this is, Times of India has a little story about him. He'll be joining a growing list of Indian origin CEOs at the helm of US-based global giants, including Microsoft SEO Satya Nadella, Adobe CEO Shantanu Narayan, and Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai. Indra Nooyi also served as PepsiCo CEO for 12 years before stepping down. So, okay.
Previously the Twitter Mohan? CEO as well.
That's right. Mohan is a graduate in electrical engineering from, take a guess, take a stab at it, Basil. What university do you think he's from?
Considering the recent events, I would say Stanford.
That is correct.
Hey, there we go.
Is it really surprising that he's from Stanford? I mean,
No.
At this
not at
point,
all.
it should not be a surprise whatsoever. And just as a side note, okay, we've been ranting and raving about Stanford. They had that language list they came out with a few weeks ago, the certain words that you shouldn't use anymore. We have Sunak, UK Prime Minister. He's Stanford. Also, Bill Gates' daughter, Stanford graduate. That's where she met her husband, who's the Egyptian equestrian guy.
Right.
Sam Bankman-Fried, that whole family, the FTX thing, they're all tied in with Stanford, which, by the way, it just came out as a side note. This is a headline from Bloomberg. These are the Stanford faculty members keeping Sam Bankman-Fried out of jail. Larry Kramer and Andreas Papke signed on as guarantors of that $250 million bail that got SBF out.
That's good to know. That was a mystery there for a while.
It was. So, yeah, there's another Stanford strike.
$250 million they put up. That's pretty impressive.
Well, I think they put up 10% and then, the promise that they'll pay the rest or whatever.
Sure.
SBF is getting in a lot of trouble because he's using VPNs to get on the internet. And they're trying to crack down on his internet use he's not locked down. Also, so here's something just before we go back to Neil Mohan and his whole takeover of YouTube. The Cardinal thing, Stanford Cardinals, right? It just occurred to me, and maybe somebody has pointed it out in the past and I just missed it. But when you think about the Vatican, you have the Pope, and then underneath the Pope are the Cardinals. They're the ones that kind of guide the bishops and archbishops and all that kind of stuff. They're the ones that vote for the new Pope. And I was just wondering, if you think about the system and all these Stanford people in positions of power and influence and money and just all the world systems, it's almost like a secular version of the Vatican system where they're like, yeah, we're just going to get these cardinals in position. I don't know. I think it's a weird kind of thing because especially if you read the history of the cardinal as the mascot for Stanford, it was actually 1891 when they decided that, they're going to be the cardinal red being chosen as their color. And then
Cardinal. Okay. Not the mascot. The mascot of Stanford is a pine tree.
It's a pine tree. I know.
Right. Okay.
So it's, at the beginning, it was just the color. And then in 1930, there was an executive committee for the Association of Students. The athletic department adopted the mascot Indian. So Stanford University was the Indians from 1930 until 1972 when they returned the nickname back to Cardinals in reference to the color, not the bird. So interesting. It's like a dying and rising phoenix cardinal.
Sure. Yeah, well, there was some connections with what was the news in Arizona? Oh, it was the football. It was the football game, the big one.
Yeah, the big one. The Super Bowl. The superb owl, yes.
Connections with the Phoenix and Cardinal.
Arizona Cardinals being the team that plays in Arizona. Yep, there's all kinds of stuff there. But, just a side note with the rabbit trail of Stanford. But let's get back to this Mohan guy here. So there's another article from Fast Company. And the headline here is 6 things to know about new YouTube chief Neil Mohan. All right. So let's learn some things about him. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki was one of the most prominent women in tech. She's stepping down. Neil Mohan, YouTube's chief product officer, and Wojcicki's longtime top lieutenant will take over with the promotion to SVP and head of YouTube. Wojcicki had high praise for Mohan in her announcement, saying, quote, "He has a wonderful sense for our product, our business, our creator, and user communities, and our employees. Neil will be a terrific leader for YouTube." And so they have some points here. He's got a strong background in advertising.
Yes.
He's part of the DoubleClick. Yeah, DoubleClick guy. I don't know if you remember DoubleClick, Basil. I do remember hearing the rumblings in the world of entrepreneurship, the DoubleClick stuff. He's overseen YouTube's battle with TikTok. So there's your TikTok reference. Yeah. TikTok's rapid adoption is one of the biggest threats YouTube has faced, rather than just slapping up a clone of the service, as some other social media sites did, which is funny because Shorts is a clone. Anyway, the division launched YouTube Shorts in September 2020 in a single market, India. To test and refine its short-form content arm. Within 5 months, it was getting 3.5 billion views a day in the country. Today, it gets 30 billion views per day. So they literally, this guy ran the experiment, like just went back to his home country of India and was like, hey, look, TikTok's not big here. Let's just see if we can roll out this YouTube Shorts thing and see if we can make it work.
Yeah,
and
very
apparently
interesting.
it worked. And then they released it in America and stuff. So interesting. Shorts is
three
global
interestings.
now. Three, yeah, there's more. Last September, this is Mohan, made a push for creators to monetize their content, saying YouTube would pay a portion of the revenue Shorts generate, distributing it based on viewership totals, an extension of YouTube partnership program for longer videos. So yeah, we know about that. He played a pivotal role in some of YouTube's biggest products. So he's been part of Shorts, obviously. He was part of YouTube TV, YouTube Music, YouTube Premium. And here's a quote from him. The best analogy that comes in mind for me is really just thinking about YouTube as a stage, he told Fast Company last year. Viewers need, quote, the best views possible of the creators that they're most excited about. We're done, Basil. We're so pushed out of we're so done.
Yeah, a stage where the venue has a penchant for using the shepherd's crook to pull off anybody stepping outside a line.
Yes. He's been working to address extremist content on the platform. I think this is the most troubling part. Last September, Mohan both testified before Congress and attended a White House summit where he unveiled a new content moderation policy at YouTube, targeting violent extremist content on the site. Extension.
He seems to be responsible for
why we're here.
The
like why we're
censorship,
having problems.
Yeah, the censorship of specifically conservative content and labeling it, cyberbullying,
extremist, violent extremist,
glorification
all that kind
of violence or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Which we have been falsely accused of all those things.
It's crazy. And cyberbullying is the most hypocritical one for me because it's like, hey, what you guys are doing to us is cyberbullying by saying that we're something that we're not. An extension of existing policies that focused on groups like ISIS, the new policy prohibited content that glorified violence or attempted to recruit or fundraise for extremist groups, even when the content itself wasn't affiliated with a designated terrorist organization.
Right.
That's the key.
And that's seen as like a victory. Like, we kicked off some organizations that are not terrorists. Hooray.
I mean, how the standard by which they are using to determine if something is of extremist content or not, it doesn't even matter if it's affiliated. I don't know. It's just weird. It's crazy. YouTube at the same time began a media literacy campaign to help viewers, especially younger ones, identify manipulation tactics used to spread misinformation. And I got to say, isn't that why we're here? Aren't we here for media literacy?
That's one of our main goals.
Trying to provide a grounded, biblical approach to some of that stuff. So I don't know. We're just in competition. We butt heads. Twitter tried hard to recruit him. I won't get into that, but yeah. See, hey, Twitter bad. They couldn't have this guy. YouTube isn't the only business that gets his attention. This is the last part here. While his responsibilities at YouTube demand most of his time and may require even more with his promotion, Mohan is a board member at 2 other companies. Since 2015, he's been on the board at consumer genetics and research company 23andMe.
Yeah, notoriously sold to the Chinese after collecting everybody's DNA.
And in 2020, he joined the board at Stitch Fix, which I didn't know what that. Did you know what that was before?
Oh yeah,
You did.
They do a lot of advertising on podcasts. They actually sent us an offer to early on.
Oh, to us.
Yeah. They're one of the first companies, maybe one of the first, I don't know, one of the bigger companies to really hit the podcast advertising world hard.
Interesting. Okay, so they do like a custom style thing for you.
Yeah,
right?
they send it's like a box of clothes every month, and yeah, I don't know. You send some back you don't like, keep the ones you do like. And now I'm doing an advertisement for Stitch Fix for free.
So this new guy, he's on the board for Beast Fashion.
Most modeling is kind of acting like a beast, but making it fashion. Beast, but then make it fashion.
There you go. And he's part of the whole DNA thing.
'Cause I'm DNA.
It's not looking good for us, Basil.
Yeah. Stitch Fix is sort of a prime candidate for popularizing the World Economic Forum idea of not even owning clothes, just renting clothes.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you will own nothing. Literally, you don't even need clothes. We'll just give you the clothes that you should wear. It makes you look good.
Clothes, yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So
okay, so this guy's very connected. I mean, it makes sense. YouTube being the biggest propaganda machine on the planet or in the dome or whatever you want to say. You know, he's got to be quite connected.
Well, I had that moment when I saw the headline about Susan stepping down. I had that moment of like, this hope fills, you know, the YouTube channel maybe can come back or whatever. And as soon as I started looking into who's replacing it, it's just all washed away like the ocean, you know?
Yeah.
Goes out.
My real question is, what is Susan avoiding? What next steps are being taken that she didn't want to be involved with? You know, this is similar. It feels similar and may not be. Maybe she really just has enough money and has been released from her bondage to elite servitude, whatever. Or what is coming that she doesn't want to be in charge of. Much like at the beginning, before the pandemic, by the way, months before the pandemic, 15, 20 high-level CEOs stepped down.
Right.
And there was a big turnover right before the pandemic. Perhaps she just doesn't want the headache of heading up the world's biggest propaganda platform during World War III or whatever. Maybe she's had enough balloons.
Not going to do it. Yeah, enough balloons. Well, the other part, she mentioned health, which may have been a little wink, wink, nod, nod to maybe she doesn't want to be a part of
whatever.
Yeah. Either the continuation of propagating the message, the big pharma thing, or some kind of exposure where she's not seen in a good light. So
sure,
one or the other.